Hi YouTube, I'm just going to do a video because it's Friday. I love Fridays. I'm always in a better mood on a Friday. And I was doing some journeying, some fun journeying with Toto, and I thought I'd share some of the findings that we had, and we had a Q&A the other day as well, and so I'll share a little bit about that. So the fun journeying. I don't listen to the news or anything like that, not because, just set for TikTok videos, maybe memes, they're quite funny, but I don't go looking. But Toto does, and he was telling me about Harry and Meghan, how they were in New York recently, and they after the event they said that they were chased for 2 hours by the paparazzi, and it was really dangerous, and Toto was saying that the police and the mayor came out saying we're going to look into it, but it's highly unlikely because the traffic in New York is so bad, and so we believe this is bollocks, but we will look into this. So just a bit of fun, and I just went to Meghan. Now I've been to Meghan before and Harry before, and the image that they display or try to display, the sort of they are, they feel very victimized. And what she told me is that the children that we believe she's had 2 children actually aren't her children, that she's never given birth. When Harry asked the Queen to marry, when he asked for permission, he had to go to the Queen. And she said that granted the marriage, but that she could not bear the royal family's children, and that the children has to come from another member of the royal family, a royal family that was abroad. They're all connected, all a bit, they marry one another, and to keep the genetics in place. So the children aren't hers, and she said there's actually a contract that she has, which she delved more in today. The contract that she has to stay married to Harry is in place, and she cannot break that contract, because when I went to her today, she was saying that basically she's surrounded by sharks, that everybody that works for her are trying to get money out, because she said that the story of being chased for 2 hours by the paparazzi, she said what that's going to happen is that's going to lead to more legal ramifications, and we're going to have to defend ourselves and everything like that. And the story, the people around who announced the story, their publicist, have done it so they can bring in more lawyers to defend Harry and Meghan. She said, I'm surrounded by sharks, and even though she knows what's going on, she feels powerless to stop it because she can't get out of the contract. I said, why can't you get out the contract? She says, if I break this contract and I leave Harry, my life is over. She said, I basically sold my soul to the devil. And she said it would be fear of her life. And she said she can't trust anybody. There's no one she can trust in her life. I mean, I'm sure she's not a very trustworthy person, but she said even her mother, she said her mum is like really upset because things aren't working out the way that her mum wanted. Now, understanding Meghan, her mum basically sold her over to corporations when she was very young, and then she went into the sex industry, and that's how she came in contact with very powerful people, hence making contact with Harry. It all led to from the sex industry and being on yachts and lots of she sold her body, high-end prostitute, and that's how she had made contact with Harry. That led to that. So she was very protected by, when I last went, she was far more confident. But now, Harry and Meghan now, the illusion of their own grandeur has completely disappeared. So I went to Harry afterwards, and the illusion of what he was creating away from the royal family has completely diminished. And then he showed me him going to the coronation. And he said, he was, when they were at the cathedral and stuff like that, where everything was taking place. I assume it's the cathedral. I don't know where. I didn't watch it. So wherever Charles was being made king, he said, surrounded by family and friends, but when the cameras weren't rolling, no one was in contact with him. He's completely being banished from the family. He said no one was allowed to contact him, talk to him. He had no contact. And he showed me a letter that was given to him, and at the end of the trip, and the letter was handwritten, and it was from Charles, but it was from the whole family. And it was basically saying that there is no support, there's nothing that you can do to come back into the royal family. You have been completely cut off. And that's financial support. Even if, Charles dies, there's going to be nothing for you. The two children that don't live with Harry or Meghan, they live with the lady that he had children with. And it doesn't, you'll never see them again. So the children they belong to the royal family and not to him. And that, what else? It was just like, you are dead to us. There is no Harry. You are dead. That was the last word he showed me was dead. And he was like, I'm dead to them. Then he went back to America and showed Meghan, and he showed me Meghan was just crying and in bits. And they started, because the worry that they have is financial worry. And with all the sharks that are around them, they're just drawing the money out of them. So they're not going to have the wealth for much longer, because the legal battles that they're in, that has been, that they're fighting, will continue, and they're going to be bled dry. So yeah, never want to be a princess, because that's what happens. So and we did a Q&A. We did a Q&A the other night, and there was some really beautiful information about the separation, because we basically got two realities at the minute. And obviously Harry and Meghan and all that lot are in the dark reality, and then you've got the light reality. And basically it looks like this year is going to be a complete boom separation. Gaia's just going to go boom, and reality is going to really change. I don't know exactly when, but she's basically embodying herself, and she's got one step to go, and then it was like light everywhere. And I just saw all this light. And when I was in this light, it was just beautiful. And the new energies coming in, and I felt these energies, and it is like the energy of freedom. It's like the freedom to be oneself, the freedom to express, the freedom. There's no fears, there's no insecurities, and not everybody's going to be in that energy. When they're in the lights, they'll be still working towards it, because they have to connect their left and right brain together, completely embody their bodies. But their evolution, everyone's evolutionary rate will just speed up, because it will in the new reality, there'll be no AI, there will be no synthetic energies, fake feminine, fake masculine, no black magic, nothing. Because we're basically been living in a soup of really lovely energies, but real yucky energies, that the Freemasons, demonic energy, loads of yucky energies. And that's all going to disappear. And so exciting. And then so there was some really lovely information about that. There was also now I do a Q&A every couple of weeks. You're welcome to join on Patreon. I'll put a link up. There was also Albert Einstein. Now, Albert Einstein is like the amazing genius, and I was asked to look into him, and that was also a fake. It was a fraud. He wasn't this amazing genius. He was just the front of it, and behind him, he was of the genetic line, like the royal families and everything like that, of that masonry genetic line, and he was the front, but it was basically to get people to separate the masculine and the feminine, and people to get to perceive that the masculine was more, it's basically to separate the masculine and the feminine, and people to perceive that mental intellect was way more important than the feminine intellects. Are two different, the intuition, the knowings, the understandings, the care, the everything that makes life itself who we naturally are. And then the mental side of us that decodes it, and they wanted to separate that more and get into the educational system to get people to learn outside of themselves instead of learning about themselves and who they are, to evolve and embrace who they are, to get people going outside of themselves. So, for instance, the more you connect to yourselves, the more you're connected to all that is. You can connect to all the consciousness. The more connections you have in the brain, the more you're connected to the collective consciousness. Therefore, information is always is available to you. And if you look at Elon Musk and what he promotes and how he's trying to get people to chip their brains to do so they can do what they can naturally do anyway. And he's trying to here's his technology that can do that, where you can access any information like the internet. Well, people can do that already. You can access, but first you have to know who you are and understand who you are. You go through the traumas and the understanding. But you can do it I do courses on this, and and I teach people how to understand their traumas and heal their traumas, and it's like connecting the left and the right brain together. But with that, they have the ability to go to their higher self, to their soul, to understand why they're here, to go to their timelines, to go to past lives, to go to aspects of their fathers and mothers, to get more of a perspective on them that's more real. Because a lot of our perceptions of reality were born when we were of child age, when we were kids. And that comes from the interactions of seeing the interactions with mum and dad and our experiences. But those perceptions actually create very difficult realities. So, for instance, if your dad was very violent and a very unhappy dad, and you had a protective mum, how you see your dad is also how you would see physical reality. So you'd be scared of the physical reality. That means you would be scared of releasing your emotions through your body, because your body is built because of the masculine. If it wasn't for the masculine, we wouldn't have physicality. So if you become scared of your dad, you're also scared of the physical world. You don't want to express through the physical world. You would have problems with your expression, your emotional expression. And therefore breaking down those perceptions that you had as a child frees you, where you can express who you are. The same with your mother. If you had everyone's had traumatized parents. You can't get away from it. We've lived in a trauma reactive reality, unfortunately, and they've had trauma, and then we come in and they give the baton to us, and we've done our best, you come on, you've got to do yours now and take responsibility of what's been passed over. But a lot of us have a lot of us are in victim mode, and that's because they still feel victimized from when they were a child and what took place in their life. And getting out of victim mode or abusive mode, because if you're in victim mode, you also have the abusive element. You can't have one without the other, and it creates the abuse victim mind. And part of learning how to heal yourself through through your natural energies, your masculine and your feminine, and being able to decode your feminine, because even though the masculine's in the physical reality, your feminine energy, your heart energy, can travel anywhere. It can travel to different universes, captured to timelines. It could travel anywhere. But if you don't know this, then you'll be very attracted to the Elon Musk and what he can provide, or people get attracted to all loads of information on the internet, and I need to understand information, I need to understand information. But actually what you're here to do is understand yourself. But what they've always tried to do is try to get you to use your brain, your mental brain, to understand outside of yourself. And this is why education and schools are run the way they are, to get people to understand. I mean, that's important, but it's not as important as understanding oneself. Because as you understand oneself, you bring in freedom, you bring in naturally who you are, you bring in your natural gifts, your creativity, you get stronger at your manifestation. And it is in the path of evolution. You can't go in the path of evolution if you avoid oneself. You'll just be living other people's lives and never evolving. So there is some spaces on courses that I start next month, and you're welcome to join. There's a level 1 and a level 2, and if you've done an online level 1, you can always do the live level 2, no problem at all. And yeah, okay, I've rambled. It's Friday, so have a lovely weekend, and I do have a Q&A next week, next Thursday, so if you want to join Patreon and come to the Q&A, and I can remote view whatever you ask. And okay, you take care, YouTube. Bye.